Now, before we end, there's something that I've been dying to hear about, that Russian spy saga that you've been on top of. What's going on there?
Okay, I just had to put this in here because it is so fascinating. So the world of spies it's coming down. And so we talked about, I think it was in our first or second podcast, how the spies that tried to assassinate Sergei Skripal in Salisbury, England, were caught. And so it was this technology side of all these cameras that caught them when they got off the plane and watched them get on the bus and go to their hotel, and then watch them go to Salisbury and watch them go on a reconnaissance mission and then watch them go and do it the next day. Like, it was fascinating how they were able to use this technology to catch these spies. Well, then Russia, of course, they couldn't let it go. They couldn't just be like, oh, maybe you got our spies this time, but we're not telling you who they are. So to try to say, that's right, moose and squirrel. So what they decided to do is they had the craziest interview, and they put it on RT, which is Russian television, and it's, of course, paid for by the Russian government. And they interviewed these two guys, and they're like, no, trust us, we are just nutritionist experts who like to go look at 14th century clock towers in cathedrals in Salisbury. We specifically flew from Moscow to go look at this clock. Like, that's it. That was their alibi. And the whole world looked at it, and they're like, really? Like, that's your attempt to try to give these two guys an alibi? Like, they should have just let them disappear into, yeah, okay, you got our spies, but we're not telling you who they are. So because of this, there is a website called Bellingcat out of England. And this is another fascinating thing with technology. They watched the interviews. They went through the data and information that MI6 put together as far as who are these guys. They nailed them. They found out exactly who these guys are. So the very first one week after the interview, they disclosed that the first guy's name was Colonel Anatoly Chepiga. And
awesome.
Yeah, so they're like, here's the guy, and this is where he was born. This is the military school he went to. He got honors. Like, we know everything about this guy. Here's a picture of him. This is what he looks like. So you don't have to, so it's like, this is obviously the same guy, and they're showing them side by side and with all the video camera stuff. And here he is in the interview. And then here he is getting Russia's highest honor, which is the Hero of Russia. And he got it from Putin himself. Now, that was classified. They couldn't find any digital information about it because Russia had scrubbed that. But when they went to his hometown and went and talked to his grandma, they're like, is this your son? And she's like, yes, look on the wall. I've got the picture of him getting the Hero of Russia from Putin. So, I mean, it totally fell apart. And then it took a little bit longer, and the same website has now uncovered who the second spy was. And his name is Alexander Mishkin, and it turns out he's a military doctor, and it makes sense. They were using the Novichok Nerve Agent. And this guy, they were able to release that he spent a lot of time in the Ukraine. So not only is he a military doctor, but they were able to expose that he is a spy, and he's been working for Russia, and he's been in the Ukraine. And we talked earlier about all the fake news that was happening in the Ukraine and how it helped topple the Crimean Peninsula, and then it got annexed by Russia. I mean, it just shows that all the dominoes, all the pieces are coming together, and they're starting to fall. And it shows that Russia is not nearly as innocent as they pretend to be. I mean, of course, we all know that they were behind everything, and it wasn't just the Russian people in the Ukraine. They're like, please come, take us, Putin. We all want to be Russia again. But it was carefully orchestrated, and the GRU, which is the Russian spy agency, was behind it. So all of this, which amazed me, was exposed by a grassroots website. So these are just people who are like, this is dumb. Let's find out who these people are. I mean, these are hackers. These are investigative journalists. This isn't MI6 that put this together. Maybe they did as well separately and didn't release it. But these are people who are just discovering what's going on. So here's a question. is the age of international spying over? Like, or is it just going to get more technical? Like, you can't get away with the old school stuff anymore. You can't just get away with let's go in there and let's assassinate them by spraying nerve agent on their doorknobs, right? So what do you think, Dan? Would James Bond stand a chance today?
I'm just shocked that these people are not clock tower enthusiasts. This whole time, I thought they were in England to look at the clock towers, two innocent people.
We just love 14th century clocks. What does Wikipedia say? Oldest clock in Europe.
We must fly out just to see.
We must go see.